As a collector, you sometimes just come by those rare occasions where you have to be quick to salvage what you can. So as well this time, when I brought home an entire trunk full of vintage computer stuff. So let's get to work and find out which treasures lie beneath. Retro computing is the use of older computer hardware and software in modern times. I'm the vintage collector and these are my stories. So the first thing that actually caught my attention was this. This is a computer course of a computer school called DigiComp, and actually if you look at it, this is a x86 assembler course. How to do assembly in x86? I must admit, it's been a long time that I did some small parts of assembly back in the days on the C64, but actually never on the x86. So maybe it's worthwhile exploring this. That's why I took this along. Maybe I can still learn something new, even though nowadays assembly seems not to be state of the art as far as computer programming goes. Another one that caught my attention was this huge binder, MS-DOS compendium, reaching from all versions from 2.11 up to 6.x. Now this is just awesome. Okay, nowadays nobody will really complain about this one, but actually I just realized that this binder is actually coming from a library, and obviously here is the receipt which has been put inside there with a date to say please return by. So this binder, basically I can say it has been obviously never returned to the library. Guess I'm gonna keep it. I don't think that 30 years after somebody is gonna complain about a lost MS-DOS compendium. The next thing that I could salvage was this MS-DOS 6.2 upgrade box. It's not the only software box that was included in that huge collection. And let's see what is still contained in the box, because I just grabbed what I could get hold of, and basically it's just the MS-DOS upgrade book. It's just the MS-DOS companion book for the 6.2 upgrade, again with some handwritten annotations. Oh, and even now, okay, if we think about what software prices have been in the day, here we got a proof. We see where it has been bought. Look at this, look at this. I show it into the camera. This originally cost some 120 Swiss francs. Oh no, actually 118 Swiss francs. You got 2 Swiss francs back from the cashier. And it has been bought on 22nd of January 1994. So this is quite some historic piece. Also again with some annotation labels from the previous owner. I'm about to remove those, as this is just bookmarks, not really something that I fancy. Other than that, there was nothing in the box, no floppy disks, which is a pity, but at least I have a box and a book in order to document some of MS-DOS history. Oh, this is quite hard to open. I don't know, maybe. Okay, here is at least, I would say, some 30 floppy disk of double side, double density, 1 megabytes. Quite rare to find these days, to find just double density. You can still find and buy new high density 3¼ inch floppy disks, but those 720 kilobytes formatted capacity or 1 megabytes raw capacity floppy disks have become quite rare nowadays to come by. Speaking of floppy disks, there have been even more floppy disks inside. Look at this, look at this. Here we've got foil wrapped, another one foil wrapped, and here even a third one. And again, this is, let me check, that box of Hewlett-Packard doesn't show if that's 1 megabyte or 2 megabytes floppy disks, but here again the other one of 3M, this is indeed both of them double-sided. Yeah, exactly. Both of them are double-sided 1 megabytes capacity floppy disks, and this in pristine condition. Going through things, you come by hard drives, hard drives. So what we've got here, this is definitely, I would say, it's an ID Quantum drive for sure. Where is the capacity indication? There's no capacity indication. That seems to be a Quantum 1 gigabyte hard drive. And we've got even a second one, which is a Maxtor Dynamax Plus. Here we have it, and this one is a 120 gigabytes hard drive. As it seems, yes, it's also a standard IDE connector. That's surely something that we can make some good use of. Here's another box, here's another box. I mean, I got hold of gazillion of floppy disks. Just a random batch of floppy disks. Aside of that, oh well, wonderful. Yes, I remember I was grabbing this out. Turbo Debugger and Tools. Turbo Debug 2.01. Disk 3, Disk 2. Let's see if I miraculously also got hold of disks 1 and 4, but look at this. This would be really one huge thing, having a complete set of original floppy disks. Here's some random other, just some pre-used floppies, not too interesting after all. Here again, just a subset, but I think I have the others as well. Let me check that later on. We will stop by, I'm sure. Microsoft Word 6.0 for Windows, disks 4, 5 and 7. It would be, of course, again very interesting to see if these floppy disks still work after this long of a time. These have been released in 1993 apparently. So, and while we are at floppy disks, here we are, a continuation of it. Let's see, it calls something, just random stuff, but let's see what we've got here. So just again some random handwritten floppies, but we've got Microsoft Access disk 3 of I don't know how many. Then again some, that's interesting. At least it's copies, MS-DOS 6, but still it's copies. Here is Microsoft Access disk 1. Let's see what else we've got here. Okay, Microsoft MS-DOS 5, disk 404, 304, random floppy disk, random floppy disk, random floppy disk, Microsoft Access disk 4, well, okay, good enough, random floppy, random floppy, all random floppies, nothing very interesting after all. Let's just put them aside. What we've got here, Microsoft Visual Basic for Windows Professional Edition, Disk 1, Disk 2. Now it's becoming interesting. Microsoft Word Disk 1, Disk 2 for Microsoft Word, Microsoft Access Disk 6, Microsoft Access Disk 7, Microsoft Access Disk 8. But there seem to be some missing ones, at least I'm missing floppies number 2 and 5. What a pity. Microsoft Excel for Windows, disk number 1. Yeah, well, that's a pity. Seems that this set is not complete, but maybe we are lucky. Brought more floppies. More is always better. Let's see, maybe we're lucky. More random floppies, also annotation. Nothing very interesting to me. Here is Microsoft Word for Windows, disk number 3. Where do we have it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So now it's a question about 6, 7, 8 and 10. Random floppies, more random floppies, even more random floppies. But here again, an original disk set. Oh, pity. That seems incomplete. At least for the moment. Hey, look at this. I used to learn programming using this. Borland Turbo Pascal version 7. Just the disks 1, 2 and 3 available. But there is a missing disk number 4. And what we've got here. Oh, now that's great. This one seems to be complete. Yes, this is complete. Look at this. Look at this. Turbo Pascal 6. Turbo Pascal 6. So, and this is what I actually found quite often. Various adapters for IDE to USB. Let's check this out. Yes. So we've got here a power supply and also a USB adapter. Interestingly enough, quite a clever one. Provides you the standard IDE connector and as well one micro IDE for 2.5-inch floppy drives. This is certainly something that you can make some good use of. And I've got here even another one which has quite a bunch of annotations as well, which is literally the same, I would say. Given the box, it should be the same for SATA, serial ATA. Interestingly enough, here inside I find yet another one of the IDE 3.5-inch and 2.5-inch adapters. But oh, that's now interesting. No, that's my mistake. Look at this. Here it hides the SATA connector, so this is even one that is more advanced than one that I was just showing previously. So, and now let's see what we've got here. It's a Office 95 Professional Edition upgrade box. Let's see what's inside. So what we've got here is a Windows 95 Release B CD-ROM Also we've got the Windows 95 Release A CD-ROM inside, curious. We've got an anti-sleeve for Microsoft Plus. And the Office CD with stickers and annotations. This is a little bit unhappy with all of these annotations, and the previous owner did quite some writings onto the labels. I personally don't like this because it of course reduces the value and the usability for such a collector's item. Nevertheless, it's an original disc and it looks quite nice from the conditions perspective. So see, what we've got here is an original box of Microsoft Windows 3.0 that has obviously no diskettes inside, just the books, a getting started manual, registration card back in the days when you were still required to send in a registration card, a license agreement, hardware compatibility list when they still cared which software it was be running and compatible to, and then the actual user manual. Unfortunately, no diskettes. That's a little bit of a pity. What's interesting about this one, this is an English language version copy. As you might know, I'm living in Switzerland, so we're typically installing localized German copies, but for around 1990 having an English language version of Windows 3.0 is quite unlikely, even from our perspective. Next one up is yet another software box, this time over the Microsoft MS-DOS 5 update. Beforehand we had already the box about version 6.2, so now let's inspect the inside of this box to see what's contained in there. But again, no floppy disk, we just have the quick start guide, the reference manual, quite a thick one once again, and some added ingredients about licensing. But no floppy disks, unfortunately. Not that I wouldn't have them already, but still, having them complete in a box like that would have been a real thing. Next one up is this, an original disk package of IBM PC-DOS 3.3. As a fact, this one includes 2 copied discs, so non-original ones, which I'm about to remove from this package if it lets me. Also some, again, handwritten annotations by the previous owner. One original startup disc, which is quite nice. And as well the 5 1/4 inch original discs. A full box for iOmega zip drives 250. I had of course already had a glimpse into it beforehand, so I know that there is actually zip drives inside. So here we've got one, let's check it out. Yes, one zip drive 250, and here's the second one, another zip drive 250. We've got also some documents coming alongside with it, warranty and registration documents, CDs and small booklets. all good so far. And what else we've got here? Oh, that's awesome. Look at this. Brand new as it seems, at least the first glimpse. They seem never to have been used before. So we've got as well some zip drive diskettes, 250 megabytes, quite a nice size back in the days, mid of the 90s. I think I had more of those. Yes, exactly, there they are. Let me check this out. Here's some more with system backups, so I'm most likely going to clean them, delete them. Here's 2 additional ones. Here's another pack of zip disks. Again, 4 pieces in a nice and shiny box. There must be more of those. I remember that I had packed just a few of them. Yeah, here's an additional one and yet another one. Let's see what's inside this box. There must be more. There must be more. Here's yet another one. The count steadily increases. No, but I think that's about it as far as zip disks go. Oh, and here, quite interesting to see. Okay, look at this. 38 Swiss francs and 60 cents. Was that really the price of one single zip disk? 250 back in the days? That would have been quite expensive. Let's see if I have a price tag here on the cardboard boxes. No, at least not on this one. Maybe on the second one. Nope. As it seems. So that would be really interesting to investigate quickly if a single zip 250 really cost about 38 Swiss francs, which would be nowadays about 38 US dollars or about 35-ish euros equivalent. So what else we've got here? 2 power supplies, identical ones. Apparently these are zip in parallel edition. There's 1 parallel cable, not 2. Not really an issue. I do have a full box of cables, so the missing cables, that shouldn't be really an issue for me. I'm not gonna test these today. I will do that later on. Maybe do a video about this as well. Let's see how this turns out. For the moment, I will put these aside so I can revisit the zip 250 topic later on. By the way, I'm always in the search of zip drives, and especially I would be fancying the SCSI edition. I don't have any such available. Up there you see there's 2 other disk drives, zip 100 as well, parallel edition, but as I said, I'm fancying, always looking out for a SCSI drive. That would come in very handy if I can make use of with any historic Mac that has a SCSI interface, and of course other machines that are sporting SCSI. So what's next? Let's see. I have collected a bunch of whatever. Here they are. 5 1/4-inch floppy diskettes. I don't really know what they are about. Different kinds of software. Here's something that looks like Commodore 128. Dr. Halo 3, no idea what this is about. Disc number 2, Dr. Halo 2, okay, maybe a game or something. Dr. Halo 3, yeah, this could indeed be a game. Genius Menu Maker and Menu Library version 7, coming in Okay, that's quite interesting. With all of those original discs, the previous owner always made a backup copy of the original disc. Would be interesting to see what this is actually all about. Nevertheless, hard to come by nowadays as well. Okay, what else we've got here? Interesting, yes. Here is another one, very similar. There is an open version Windows 98 second edition, German release this time over, and here is one that is still factory sealed. Microsoft Word 2000 factory sealed, coming along with a bundle copy of Works 4.5a, German release copies. That's always nice. I will keep this in its blister foil. This one has been opened, so it was obviously used by the previous owner to install his operating system. This was an OEM version of Windows 95, by the way, coming along with a Fujitsu machine. Well, I do have plenty of those, but anyway, always nice. Stacks up with the other ones that I had shown earlier here already. Windows 95, Windows 95. I do have more. Okay, so here we come into modern ages. There must be another one. Yes, there is. Aha. But before we do that, haha. Okay, this one is really nice. This is still factory sealed, is still closed. Windows 95, the Start CD-ROM, interactive training in German. That makes a good companion for the Windows 95 discs. But let's go into more modern times, more recent times. What we've got here, Windows Vista. Everybody hated this. But hey, that's one of these boxes I personally never owned. Ah, look at this, look at this. I didn't check it, so I didn't knew it. So the CD-ROM is inside. Now it's actually a DVD-ROM. Also there is a small companion booklet. Remember the Windows 3.0 I was showing you with this thick of a manual? With later versions of Windows, you get this. This is how times have changed, but let's be honest, nobody is reading user manuals anyway, not back in the days. Maybe a bit more, but nowadays nobody is reading up user manuals. So look at this. So here is still the printed receipt. It cost 299 Swiss francs just for Windows Vista, and this is just the Home Basic Edition. Well, fair enough. Makes a nice addition to my collection. And to come along with it, look at this one. Office Professional 2007. Oh god, oh my god, look at this. Look at this. Original disc included. Two of them apparently, yes. This one comes with a thicker manual. That's nice, that's nice. Look at this. Quite a bit more substance. First steps in Office 2007. I mean, somewhere up the shelf I have a user's manual of Microsoft Office back in the days, in the 90s. Nowadays you have this. Of course, online help and things. Oh, and here as well, a printed receipt. Oh my god, yes, I can remember Microsoft Office. Look at this, look at this. Almost 1,000 Swiss francs. This is what it cost. It dates back to 2009, so 1,000 Swiss francs just to buy an Office offline copy. I mean, nowadays with Office 365, if you're doing the math correctly, you're easily shelving out this much amount of money as well, just not at once, but over the course of several years being on the contract. But it looks really nice, huh? Quite nice, almost pristine, some smaller scratches. I don't have any of these kind of boxes, so that's quite awesome to have found those. And to contemplate with this one, here's another one. Office 2010 has a kind of more cheaper look, huh? If you compare it once again, let me fetch it once again. This looks quite nice, solid, sturdy. The later edition from 2010 is more like this card box sleeve with a plastic, quite cheap case inside. Again, some handwritten annotations. Well, I don't care about this one, but the original disc is also contained in there. Let's see if we also have a receipt. Maybe we're lucky. I wonder if there is a receipt. Nope. Nope. No receipt in the box this time. Pity, but we've got the product key. Maybe I should have hidden this away because of stealing software piracy. Anyway, I mean, come on, it's 12 years old software, who cares? Apart from that, I've got books, tons of books I've found. Programming Secrets of Commodore 128. Apparently I don't have any Commodore 128, but having the books maybe is not a totally wrong thing. Let's check out, there's more books about it, not this one, show up later, but here again, a Commodore user's manuals about the 1571 and 1570 floppy disk drive. Another Commodore hardware extensions book suitable for both the 64 and the 128. By the way, I have a C64 that recently failed its keyboard, so this will be one of my upcoming videos about where and how to fix the keyboard. But let's go on with the books. Here's yet another one specific to the 128. Tips and tricks about the C128. There's more books, let's check this out. Here with some personal annotations inside, again a C128 book. Let's see what these bookmarks are. There's quite a bunch of them, but nothing is written on them. Here again, I don't fancy handwritten notes. Sometimes they might be interesting. Nope, nothing that I really want to know. Blah blah. And here comes yet another book. Oh, this one has seen some wear. Ooh, pity I didn't pay attention closely. Okay, you see how the pages almost come out. It's a floppy disk book about the Commodore. Again, it has still a price tag on it. 49 Deutschmark. Ooh, that's a long time. That would be about 30-ish euros nowadays. But the book, it almost starts falling apart. I guess I will need to fix that somehow. So this is pages 282. These would belong. Oh, and there's more pages missing. Oh, what a pity. 282. Yeah, if I'm lucky, this is the exact right pages. 270. 73, 74, 75, 79, 81, 83. Okay. Yeah. I guess I will need some glue to fix this book, to bring all the pages back in to place where they actually would belong. Here again we have the same problem, it's falling apart. What a pity, what a pity. But anyway, here it is. The book makes as well some addition onto the bookshelf. I've got more, which I will be showing in a moment. And if you thought it's over, no, it is not. We are not even halfway through it. The next one up is this one. I mean, this is really what made my eyes glow. Okay, that's the wrong way around. This is these binders, original binders from IBM about the IBM personal computer. But the thing is, which one it is? Let's see what's contained inside. Here we've got the basic programming handbook. Nice, very nice. And this is really the binder about IBM basic reference. Look at this beautiful thing. It's almost pristine. Little signs of wear. I mean, very hard to come by in this condition nowadays. There's even the small quick reference guide included. Wonderful. There is some, what is this? Manual made copies. I don't care about this. Read this first. Oh, that's interesting, but it doesn't belong in here. Installing DOS 3.2. So this must have come with a machine that was delivered with DOS 3.2. I know where this belongs, unless the other box that I'm going to show you requires it, but let's see. Okay, here's again some manually printed replicas of the quick reference card. I'm throwing this away. I have the original one here. Okay, but this is really beautiful. Original documentation, still back in the days when IBM did manuals in those classic binders. I do happen to have a few of those already, but this makes certainly a very nice addition to my collection. And so here is the second one. Again, this is about Guide to Operations for the Personal Computer AT. So this was probably part of an IBM Personal Computer AT. I used to own one of these myself back in the days. Actually, my father did, not me. And he was totally happy with me when he one day came back and saw me, how I had disassembled it. Okay guys, this is just awesome. Look at this. The original diagnostics discs are included for the IBM Personal Computer AT. So for those following my channel, I'm restoring an IBM Personal Computer, the original one, and as a fact I was also tampering around with the diagnostics, in particular to remake a diagnostics cassette, and you can check this out in this video up there. But back to this binder, setup information, blah blah blah, guide to operations. This is how you use your IBM Personal Computer AT. Yes, I can very well remember that machine. I used to do quite some gaming and hacking on this machine back in the days. Very nice condition, almost like new. Almost like new. I mean, this is really crazy. Okay, but awesome, this is awesome. So two binders, original binders in almost new condition, IBM, for my IBM Computers Manuals library. Now, where does this flyer belong to? I have one box where this can actually fit into. Just 1 second, I'm going to fetch it. And here it is, DOS 3.2. Didn't come out of this junk collection. This one I had already, but this thing definitely fits into here, I would say, installing DOS 3.2. So, makes it more complete. By the way, for those who want to check it out, see. Almost pristine as well. Quick reference card. The only thing missing to make this one complete apparently is this. No original floppy disks. It's copies, which is a little bit a pity. I mean, well, but that's how it is. But maybe one day I will stumble across original floppy disks as well to go along with that. item. I've got more, which is this one. Remember, I was holding in my hands beforehand the discs. Here is the book, Turbo Pascal. There is some bookmark in there as well. Oh, that's interesting. The bookmark just leads me to one of my most obscure topics that I'm exploring. I know it's German, but it says how to use Turbo Pascal on CP/M systems. So now is really the question, is this now Turbo Pascal for MS-DOS or is this Turbo Pascal for CP/M? I wonder. All of them, CP/M80, CP/M86 and MS-DOS. That's interesting. So along with that book is also this cardboard thingy, which includes I don't know what. Oh, that's interesting. Gives us quite some insights. A license agreement for this one. A license agreement for Turbo Pascal version 3. Apparently for the Commodore 128 and CP/M80. So that was the version that the previous owner obviously has licensed. Interesting. I knew that you could run CP/M on Commodore 64 and 128, but I have actually never seen that myself. Apparently the floppies are also missing, so this is also nice. Here's a voucher reading to us if I want to change or exchange Turbo Pascal to version 4. Remember, that was licensed for version 3. So I can exchange it to version 4 for the for the price of 58 Deutschmark, so around 40-ish euros nowadays. What does it say on the backside? So if you want to develop programs having more than 4,000 lines and you have a system with hard drive and more than 512 kilobytes of RAM, it's being recommended to switch over to Turbo Pascal 4.0. The new version will be available beginning of 1988 and it's gonna cost about I'm sorry, this is so ridiculous. I mean, it will cost exactly 396,72 Deutschmark, so around, I would say 320, no, 300 euros nowadays. But I mean, look at this. I mean, really, 396,72 Deutschmark. I mean, these guys are crazy. They took it really to the point here. Yeah, pity. I have the book, I have this. No box, no floppies, but this would be worthwhile investigating. Really, this would be. Laplink. Okay. Everybody needs that. Laplink. There's absolutely no way around. I use serial and parallel port transfers all the time. Let's see what's inside in the box. Here again, typically a user's guide. Which version was this for? I wonder. Laplink Pro, but doesn't say which release. Does it say on the box which version this is about? Release 4. Here it says it. Release 4. So that's Laplink 4. I never use it. I either use Laplink 2, Laplink XL or Laplink 5. I never use version 4. But interesting to see. Still the plastics retainer is in there, so everything can be stacked up nicely. Here's some additional stuff that usually came along with software, accessories catalog, more backgrounds on additional software, quick reference guide, and as well business reply email. Now, of course, so somewhere in this box was originally as well a registration card, which I'm apparently missing. It's not there, so the previous owner most likely has registered this with the supplier back in the days. Here's as well a sleeve that includes what? Let's see. Ah, interesting. Is it what I think? It is, it is. An original 5 1/4 inch floppy disk. And some copies. I'm gonna do them away. And here is an original floppy 3.5 inch 720 kilobytes. Apparently no cable is in the box. It didn't come with one included, but as a fact I do have a Laplink cable, so this is not really a downfall that this is missing from here. It's more about the documentational aspect for this historic piece of software, which I still use to this day to transfer files between my machines, as also shown in one of the recent videos about the IBM PC 5150. And this was my look into a huge pile of salvage parts, an entire trunk full to be exact. I would not have learned about this if my wife didn't actually tell me about it in the first place. We both were thinking about some stuff, but I personally would have not expected this much of material after all. Stay tuned for a follow-up on this topic. I hope you liked this video, and if you did, then please give me a thumbs up. See you next time.